One of our favorite resources is the crew over at Go 247, and one of the original gangsters of covering recruiting, following recruiting, bringing it to the masses for LSU is Sonny Shipp, one of the Dons, man. There's a feeling when you see him walking around the fields, you know you're in the right place.
An offer is lurking.
Absolutely. He had a great write-up yesterday on four-star wide receiver Omari Miller, who got a offer from LSU, one of the names that we'll talk about here with Sonny Shipp. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, man. Just because I'm old as dirt doesn't make me a Don, dude.
It's a compliment.
It wasn't even a shot at your age, bro. Just about how long and how good you've been doing it, man. And if anybody can make an age joke, bro, check out the 40-year-old that's balding on YouTube every morning.
Hey, bro, 5-0 in December. 5-0 in December.
You wear it well, Sonny Shipp. A who's who of LSU at LSU this weekend, Sonny. It felt like a red carpet entertainment on over the weekend at LSU. What did you make of the weekend?
Yeah, man, it was. And this was their first opportunity to have any kind of camps or anything in 2 years. And so to be able to have, they probably had, if I had to estimate, I'd say at least 150, 200 O-line, D-line there on Saturday. But hell, yesterday, man, it was between 700 to 800 kids crammed inside that indoor facility. You add another 300 to 400 parents on the sidelines, and sardines would be an understatement.
Right.
It was just crazy. There were so many people in there, but almost too many. The good thing is they got to go outdoors in the afternoon, so they were able to kind of separate them a little bit. But most of the dogs who were there in the morning, like Walker Howard, Jake Johnson, a lot of those guys, they did everything they needed to do in that morning session. And man, it was a spectacle. But I think the highlight of the weekend was watching big Quincy Wiggins, just a monster defensive end, going against Will Campbell, the future left tackle for LSU. And if LSU can reel in Quincy Wiggins, this guy, I think he's a guy you're going to see shoot up the recruiting rankings between now and when he signs. You talk about wearing something well. That dude he said he weighed in at 270 at Ole Miss on Friday, and I have no idea where he carries it because he looks like he's about 245 and just ripped and chiseled.
6'7", 270 was the count on Quincy Wiggins, the defensive end at Madison Prep. This cat is, you have to see to believe up close, and to see him going one-on-one with Will Campbell. You were there. What was that fight like?
I've been doing this 23 years now, going to camps and everything and stuff, and watching Quincy Wiggins and Will Campbell go at it. They probably went at it about 6 or 7 times. But that series of one-on-ones for an O-lineman and a D-lineman is the best that I've ever seen at a camp. And, I'm talking, we've seen Lael Collins at camps. We've seen, we saw the 2014 guys, Gerald Willis and Cam Robinson and those guys. But watching Wiggins and Will Campbell, it gave you that feeling that you're watching truly one of the top 3 to 5 defensive ends in the country going up against one of the top 3 to 5 offensive tackles in the country. It had that feel to it, like both of these guys could get on a college football field right now and be in the mix as true freshmen at 17 years old.
Campbell and the rest of the offensive line commitments. We talked to Bo Borderline on Friday morning. Did you get any feedback on what bringing Brad Davis into the fold means for those guys? It looked like it was solid. It's the pictures of Campbell in the purple and gold with the visor is one of the most finest recruiting pictures I've ever seen.
The hug with O.
Yeah, and Will Campbell and Bo Bordelon, those two guys, Mickey Mouse could be the offensive line coach next year, and it wouldn't affect those two guys, man. Those two guys are just LSU bred for ever since they were little. But the good thing is that you had guys like Cam Dewberry, Kelvin Banks, a 5-star offensive tackle out of Houston. You had Julian Armada, a big high caliber 4-star offensive tackle out of South Florida. And while Brad Davis, he was really limited in really what he could even watch over the weekend, just the overall vibe from talking to sources, from talking to guys out there and stuff, was that he was very well received. That when they mentioned, who the new offensive line coach was going to be and stuff, that it was just it was a slam dunk. It was a home run. They were excited about it. They were pumped up about it.
One of the offers that went out over the weekend that looks like a potential offensive lineman is Fitzgerald West, who's over at Lafayette Christian. He picked up an offer on Saturday morning at the offensive line, defensive line camp. What do you know about him? What do you anticipate from him?
Yeah, he measured in at 6'1.5", so kind of on that shorter side for even really an offensive guard. But they liked what they saw of him at center. They worked him out at guard. They worked him out at center. They worked him out at defensive tackle. After the morning session, they took him over in the end zone. They let him snap some shotgun snaps to see how quickly he picked that up. And then they went ahead and they pulled the trigger after that. And it's going to be interesting to see. I know initially he felt like he really did good as a defensive tackle, and I think he did too. But I think his future at a place like LSU at a high level P5 is going to have to be center. Mm-hmm. But the good thing about it is with his versatility is you bring him in. If you get a log jam at center, you don't have to worry about this kid hitting the transfer portal, because then you can say, okay, you wanted your shot at defensive tackle?
Go ahead.
Let's get over there. Let's see what you got. And I think those kind of guys are great, because with everybody now, if the depth chart gets too clogged up, if somebody has a bad day or something, the first thing they think about is like, okay, well, I can enter the portal and I can go somewhere else. Well, no, there's over 2,000 kids in the portal right now, and a lot of them aren't going to play again. So you might want to stick it out. And so having that versatility to where you can put him at another position, I just think that that's tremendous in this day and age of recruiting. It's going to be interesting to see whether, if initially the offensive line offer was not something that he really was excited about. But then once the offer came, his tune kind of changed a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Tulanes, the ULLs of the world, maybe some other G5 schools can convince him that, hey, we love you as a defensive tackle. Come on, play the position that you really want to play. Or if he jumps on that LSU offer when he has a commitment ceremony already set up for July 11th. And, I've got a feeling that because I know that from talking to him when he was a sophomore, he wanted that LSU offer. Well, I don't think he ever thought that it was going to come, but he went there on Saturday. He put on the show for the coaches, and he got that offer. So now it's going to be interesting to see if Coach O and Brad Davis, if they can convince him to do what I said. Come in as an offensive lineman. If it doesn't work, you move to the defensive side.
Sonny Shipp, he covers recruiting over at Go247. You can follow him on Twitter at SonnyShipp247 if you're looking for the latest. Tell me about 4-star wide receiver from North Louisiana, Omari Miller.
Yeah, that dude had one of the better catches of the day. Dakotas Crawford, who's the 2022 commitment out of Green Oaks, I thought he had the best day of any wide receivers. That he went there with some question marks, but he showed really strong hands. I mean, he was tenacious, just taking balls from DBs and stuff. But Omari Miller probably had the best catch of the day. Just a ball that was underthrown. He went up, high pointed the ball, ended up scooping it up off the ground. It was really just one of those odd plays with the DB pushing him and stuff, and then he ended up making the catch. And after that catch, you're like, okay, this guy can play here, And LSU knew about him. I mean, he's got offers from Miami, Mississippi State. He's got some, he's got big Power 5 offers and stuff. But they just wanted to see him in person. And they saw enough. They saw enough pretty quickly. An interesting note on him is that I saw one of his coaches, who also coached Terrace Marshall in high school, at a 7-on-7 event, and he compared Omarion to Terrace Marshall. Wow. As far as at that respective stage of their careers, getting ready to go into his junior season. But he said, look, this isn't a knock on Terrace either, because Terrace is going to make his money in the NFL. This was before the draft, but you knew he was going to go high. And he said, but I think Omarion has a higher ceiling because of what he can do with his quickness. He said his short area quickness is better than Terrace, and he also has that long speed like Terrace has. So that's pretty. That's a pretty lofty comparison, to make, and especially coming from a guy who coached both of those kids.
This class, Sonny, you mentioned the experience that you have in this industry and covering recruiting. When I look at this 22 group and the state of Louisiana specifically, I know that they've got guys like Lucas Taylor from Mobile. They've got guys like Jake Johnson from Atlanta. But when you look at the state this year in this cycle, how special of a group is this one?
Well, anytime you have three guys, you have 3 5-stars at the top of your, at the top of your state list. It's going to be a good class. You got Walker Howard, Will Campbell, and Jacoby Matthews, all 3 committed to LSU, all 3 5-stars, and really all 3 at positions of need in this class. You couldn't ask for a better setup in that scenario for LSU filling those needs. But the good thing about it is that you've got a deep crop after those, that first tier elite group. Quincy Wiggins, I think he's, when I look at the state rankings and stuff now, I'm going to recommend that he's number 4 in the state.
Wow.
Whether or not he gets there, I don't know, but I think that at the end of the day, if he plays in an All-American game, and he goes somewhere and he works out for a week like he did on Saturday in front of our national guys, where they can actually put a look on that frame and see him, what he does on the field, go back and look at his film again, then I think he's a guy who has a chance to be a 5-star too at the end of the day. So you're talking about what I consider 4 5-star caliber guys in the state of Louisiana. That doesn't happen too often. You go back, you look at the 2014 class with Leonard Fournette, Speedy Noyle, all those guys. That's one that jumps out at you. 2011, when you had Kenny Hilliard, Anthony Johnson, Lael Collins, that's one that jumps out at you. You go way back into the Nick Saban days at LSU. You had the Marquise Hill, Marcus Spencer, Michael Clayton class, Andrew Whitworth. That was just a huge, big-time class. But I think this 2022 class has a chance to be mentioned, in that same breath. And you're not just tossing it in there to make headlines. You're putting it in there because of the quality of guys that you have at this stage of their careers.
One for you on the way out here on LeVeon Moss. Moss is a highly talented running back from Estruma, which it has been a while since Estruma has put out some top recruits, and Moss is as good as they've produced in a long time. He goes to Alabama over the weekend and commits to the Tide. What's that mean for his recruitment in LSU?
Yeah, it's it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Alabama already has they've already got a highly touted guy committed in this class. They've got a pretty deep stock of running backs, and I mean LSU's got its share of running backs too, but they're a little bit older, and John Emery and Tyrion Davis-Price, who are entering their junior year. But I think LSU's going to still recruit him and see what they can do. Committing on a visit high like that. Once you get back home, you talk to the LSU coaches, you talk to the people close to home and stuff, then, that might leave some doors open. And I mean, hell, we still got 5 months to go until anybody can sign. And so see if he pops up on campus during this contact period that ends the last week of June, and then just have to see what happens. But it was a surprise that he went ahead and that he pulled the trigger coming off the visit. But I mean, hey, he had the picture, of in the Bama uniform. Nick Saban had about 4 or 5 championship rings on his fingers. So, they impressed him with that visit. But I don't think it's over by any means. You just got a long ways to go. And then you got kids who haven't been able to take visits and get that red carpet treatment for, ever since they've started their recruitment. So, you go, you take that first visit and you feel good about it. Now you come home and then you got to say, okay, do I really want to be in Tuscaloosa?
Sonny Shipp, covering recruiting over at Go 247. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. If you were not already doing that, read the material online at 247sports.com.